Yo, what do you do for a living? Oh, I do music. What does that mean? It was good to hear too. So I wanted to chat with you guys again really quickly about whether or not music should be your job. Now, make sure you're liking, sharing, and subscribing, of course. But I want to make sure to kind of be clear on my stance on pursuing a career in the music industry because clearly, I'm a musician, right? But the key thing that I want people to understand is that there is literally a position you play in society when you claim a certain title, and this is all jobs, all titles, right? So if I were to walk around and say I'm a plumber, right? Saying that out loud to people for them to receive that message means that they are going to now place me into a certain position or role in society. And rightfully so, because they're only receiving the information that I am projecting out towards them, right? And so when I was younger and in, I would say, high school and getting into college and applying to different colleges and things like that, a lot of the things that the recruiters would ask were career oriented questions, right? And one of the questions was, what would you like to do, or what would you like to be, right? And my answer was always, or usually, I would like to be a producer. And the response wasn't typically anything that I expected. It was kind of like I was confused at their reaction to the answer, because they would say, well, that's too broad of a statement. And at the time, I couldn't piece it together as to why it was so broad. It's like, no, I literally can think of like people who have this title who do this thing. And the issue that I was running into was that it's not something that's marketable. So when you think of a job in the music industry or creating a career path for yourself, a lot of the things that you're going to have to think about are going to be marketable skills and not necessarily things that you would like to do. And that's where most of the time the conversation gets confused with artists, because it tends to fall into a you should value what I do versus here's what you value, so I offer it. And that's cool that many artists kind of have that approach where they just kind of want to be accepted for themselves. It's just riskier for you to kind of make a foundation for your career doing that, right? And so here's a kind of clear tip on what you can do if you want to kind of, if you're a young musician or a young artist and you want to figure out what the heck you should be doing next, right? You should find specific skills that are in demand, right? Meaning they're valuable today and people want you to do them for you, or do them, those skills for them. Um, and find ways to compete with those skills, right? And so when you think of certain titles and things like that in the music industry, specifically in like hip hop, you think of kind of roles people play. That's kind of how people identify themselves. They don't identify themselves by the task or skills that they have. Like you're not gonna go to a average hip hop fan and then be like, who's the mixing engineer for your favorite album? It's just not common knowledge unless you're looking for it. And so something like mixing engineer, that's a skill based title that you can now claim and project to people and then say, I am this person that does these skills. What typically happens though is people will go, no, I'm a producer, or I can mix, or I am an engineer, and those things aren't marketable. Now, if you're more on the, let's say, musical side of things, like you're more of an instrumentalist or singer or something like that, then things are going to get a little bit more creative in terms of titling, but the skills are not any different, right? So if you're a singer, are you a singer that's going to be recording um, scripts? Are you going to be doing backing vocals? Are you going to be doing lead vocals? Do you do um, Foley art? Is there a lot of different voice acting concepts that you can maneuver through? Are you a one trick pony, meaning you just have this one thing that you can do? When it comes to actual instrumentalists, are you more of a lead guitarist, background guitarist? Are there certain genres you mastered? Is there a certain show style? Like, do you prefer to talk while you're playing and things like that? Like, all these are different skills that you can use to market that are a little bit more detailed than just saying, I play guitar, I do music, I'm a musician. Like, there's a lot of more detailed skills that you can really explore. And a lot of that is going to come through exposure, education. Most of the time, people aren't trying to pursue different jobs and positions that will expose them to different things. Like, you usually see rappers just rap, singers just sing. They don't try to learn instruments or learn how to work the cameras for music videos, learn color grading, graphic design, software engineering, analytics. There's all these little tiny little things that actually play a huge role in the success of your career. Many people don't really step into it, but when you're having the conversation, usually with people, nobody wants to get that detailed in the conversation. It's, just small talk. But when it comes to trying to actually market yourself, build a resume, or actually develop some kind of long standing, track record, one of the first things that my peer musicians would tell me is to keep a resume. If it's not like uh gigs you performed at, it's always going to be marketable skills that you can move from band to band, genre of music to genre of music, industry to industry. Those are the skills that you're going to want to nurture and value, because in all honesty, it's going to be those things like that that's going to weed out the people that are like just cool, right? Because most people, they're gonna bank on you liking them, and they're not gonna try to perform or outperform you. They're more than likely gonna have you kind of competing with their clout and competing with their networking. But when it comes to results, if you can deliver results, like if you're a producer and you have a certain style or honestly just work ethic, you can outpace any other producer who just has a hit record once or three or four hit records. Like, if you meet any of your favorite producers today, you could be better than them once you realize their output. Like, if you meet Busta Rhymes and you realize every day he writes a verse, if you write two, you could be better. That's as simple as it is. But you then have to compete with his consistency, discipline, skill set, and other areas and things like that. So there's a lot that goes into it, but it's all very, very, very possible. You just have to be specific, and you have to be urgent about how you're identifying yourself and then standing in that. Because, like I said earlier in the video, just saying I do music or I just play guitar is cool, but it's not edging. It's not edging the competition. You're not pushing no boundaries or nothing. You just kind of like joining the crowd. You're just doing a thing. So this is helpful. Let me know. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I'm gonna be making more videos like this, having a conversation with you. And you musicians out there, make sure you're leaving comments about how you're experiencing your conversations and even your resume building going into 2024, 25. And this is going to be important for musicians, because simply building the resume is going to be what pretty much how we identify you and how we organize what it is you do and how you uh, produce and manufacture in society. So let me know if this was dope.